What's going on, guys? Mark here, and thanks for tuning back into the channel. I got another quick tech related video for you guys today, and it's going to be covering mechanical keyboards. Now, I'm sure you've heard about mechanical keyboards before and you're wondering what they're about, which is probably the reason why you clicked on this video, but I'm hoping to answer those questions and maybe give you some benefits as to why you might want a mechanical keyboard and ultimately help you decide on whether you're going to get one for yourself in the future. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So mechanical keyboards are pretty much one of two different kinds of keyboards that are out in the market today. The other one being rubber dome keyboards. Actually, mechanical keyboards have been around for quite a bit, as long as computers have been around. But it wasn't until maybe the early 1980s that rubber dome keyboards were invented and kind of took over mechanical keyboards. And the whole reason for this was primarily because rubber dome keyboards were just cheaper to produce. And because something is cheaper to produce, usually it's cheaper for the consumer to buy. And this is something that kind of still stays true today. I mean, you could probably walk into any store and look at their cheapest keyboard that they have in stock, run you about $10, $15, and it'll more than likely be a rubber dome keyboard. Now, for a mechanical keyboard, you could probably find a decent one for like $50, $60, and I've seen them go from like $100 to a couple $100. But with the recent rise of PC gaming, this whole ergonomic work from home setups, #COVID, and honestly, the expiration of some patents, we're seeing mechanical keyboards make a comeback. But you might still be asking yourself why you would spend extra money on something you could obviously get for cheaper and it does exactly the same thing. It's because it's dope. Okay, it is dope, but there's definitely something more to it. And it honestly all breaks down to how the mechanical keyboard works. And without getting into the nitty-gritty details of it, really what you have on a mechanical keyboard are individual switches that's responsible for each individual key. And I know that doesn't necessarily seem like a big deal, but comparing it to rubber dome keyboards, it makes a huge difference. And that's where you'll find benefits like longevity, ergonomics, better dealing with ghosting, and probably my favorite reason is that it's highly customizable. In terms of longevity, rubber dome keyboards tend to be rated at 5 million keystrokes, whereas mechanical keyboards, their switches get rated for about 30 million keystrokes. And that's on the low end. I've seen some keyboards get rated for 50 million and even 100 million keystrokes. So that's a considerable amount of difference, and you could rest assured that the money that you'll spend towards a mechanical keyboard is definitely a long-term investment. In terms of ergonomics, a rubber dome keyboard and how it works actually requires you to bottom out a key when you're typing. When you bottom out the key, it completes a contact which notifies the keyboard to send a signal out to the computer. With mechanical keyboards, that's not necessarily the case. You only really need to press the key about halfway before it lets the keyboard know to send a signal to the computer. In fact, mechanical keyboards even have a tactile and an audible feedback letting you know that you've pushed the key far enough for the keyboard to register which key is pressed. And this is what mechanical keyboards are pretty much known for, and it's that clicky sound that sounds like this. Just kidding, that's a pen, but it sounds like this. And I know this might be a turnoff for some people, but there are quieter options. I will say though that you're never gonna get as quiet as a rubber dome keyboard because, well, you're literally pushing down into rubber. Now, that's not something I experienced myself, but there are claims saying that the constant impact you get when you bottom out your keys can lead to joint pain and injuries in the future. Now, for ghosting, and if you guys don't know what ghosting is essentially what happens when a keyboard doesn't recognize a key is being pressed, normally because there are multiple keys being pressed simultaneously. This is more evident in rubber dome keyboards just because of the way it works, but with the mechanical keyboards and their individual switches, this is something that barely happens. And for your average user, this might not necessarily be a big deal because, you know, at most you'll probably be pushing 2 or 3 buttons at the same time to maybe capitalize a letter or get a different punctuation mark. But for a gamer, this is a big deal. I mean, in a game, you'll probably need to push upwards of 4 or 5 buttons at the same time to do what you need to do, and I'd rather not have a key fail on me. And this is primarily why the mechanical keyboards are pretty popular in the gaming market. The final and my favorite benefit is the fact that mechanical keyboards are highly customizable. I mean, let me just throw up a few pictures of a bunch of keyboards that I've come across since I've gotten into this. I mean, you could change out the keycaps to any colors that you might like, how the printing will look, if the printing will be on the front, if there's any printing at all. Touching back on the fact that you have silent options rather than that notoriously clicky sound that mechanical keyboards have. There are a ton of different switches out there and you can find the one that you like, and you could even have a mixture of switches on your keyboard itself, so then it's literally tailored to something to your liking. And let me just go ahead and show you guys my keyboard. I went with the Royal KLUDGE 61%, and it has Cherry MX Red switches. I did go with the silent option. The Cherry MX Red is silent. The clicky ones that you might want to avoid are blue. If you like them, they're blue. And I love this thing, man. It's been my daily driver for about a year and a half now, and it's definitely making me want to get into it even further. And by that, I mean customize it even further. Anyways, if you guys like this video, let me know in the comments below. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments below. And if you like seeing content like this, let me know. Hit that like button, go ahead and subscribe because I got more content coming your way that's similar to this. Thanks guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.